Welcome! The following video is a guide to Zudello's new AI assistant, or Artificial Intelligence Assistant. This human-in-the-loop tool gives customers complete control over their document pipelines and enables immediate action to be taken as needed. The AI assistant is used to refine blueprints for documents in the data extraction process that the cognitive engine has not been able to finalize. To access the AI assistant, firstly choose the document from either the sales or purchasing section of Zudello that you wish to map and select the AI assistant. This screen that you land on is the AI assistant. The AI assistant interface can be broken down into 4 key sections: recommended fields, options, mapping by fields, and directly mapping into the document. Recommended fields are the fields necessary for validating documents that we highly recommend you have filled in on every document. Each field dot point will disappear once the field has been filled in. The Options panel presents optional properties for the document's mapping. Using the toggles correctly will help avoid documents being interpreted as invalid by the AI. Invalid documents are generally excluded document types, which means the system is unable to map its information and will require input from the AI assistant. Without the AI assistant, none of the document's information will be mapped, and no future documents from the same supplier of the same format will have mapping attempted. Please refer to the platform exclusion document in our Help Center for details on excluded document types. As an alternative, the Options panel gives users the ability to mark the document to not be extracted and avoid it being flagged for exclusion. There is also the option to mark the documents as not having or needing line items, such as utility bills, where only the total may be relevant. Again, this bypasses the document failing the extraction process. You can also choose the document's default date format of day, month, year, month, day, year, or not applicable. If the format includes anything not numerical, for example, January or February, or is separated by something other than a /, select Not Applicable. Finally, there is the option to set the decimal separator and the thousand separator to any custom character. The mapping directly into the document section is the section of the AI assistant we recommend you use. It has been designed to create an intuitive user experience. In the Mapping by Field section, you are able to map fields individually. However, it is a slower and less efficient way of mapping documents. The Mapping by Field section is most useful for checking and rectifying splits and merges. We recommend using the In-Document Mapping section for the majority of your mapping. If you have a multi-page document, an additional field will appear between the recommended fields and the Options section, which allows you to move between the pages of the document. The AI assistant interface also includes tooltips, in the form of hover text, throughout the page to assist you with mapping your document's information to appropriate fields. To begin, click on any of the blue highlighted fields on your document to prompt a drop-down menu of field options to appear. Either scroll through the list to find the relevant field or begin typing the name of the field. Click on the relevant field or press the Enter key. Then, either click off to remove the drop-down menu or click Next/Previous to move to a neighbouring field. You can also use the Tab key and the Tab key plus the Shift key to move between fields. The field will turn green to indicate it has been mapped. If your document contains multiple instances of the same information, like in this example, it is important to only map one. This is because if 2 bits of information are mapped to the same fields, they will be merged. For example, if you mapped both versions of the supplier's name to the external name field, the name would read Demo Company, which is not the correct name. For dates, you will also need to select a format. As mentioned earlier, you can set a default date format for the document from the Options section. You can filter through mapped and unmapped fields to accelerate the remapping process. To do this, scroll to the Fields filter and select your desired category. The text overview allows you to see which fields have been mapped to where. You can toggle this on and off by clicking the text bubble icon. You can also change the size and position of the labels. For dates, you will also need to select a format. As mentioned earlier, you can set a default date format for the document from the Options section. It is easy to find information on the document by clicking the information on either side of the mapping screen, and it will highlight the corresponding information on the other side. If Zudello has read multiple fields as one field, you have the ability to split it into the correct fields. For example, if you wanted to separate and map the following line into city and postcode, you would first enter the fields you want to map into. Then, you would need to select the arrow next to one of the fields, for example, city delivery. This will reveal more options for the mapping, including the option to split. Enter the start and end characters of the field you are mapping. Only use characters that will be the same between different invoices from the same supplier, for example, spaces or hyphens. If you input specific characters like letters or numbers, the system will always look for those specific characters to split on. For example, if you use a number from the total, it probably won't be the same on the next invoice, so the split will be incorrect. It is important to note that they must also be unique characters, otherwise Zudello will stop at the first instance of those characters appearing. For this example, a space will be used as the separating character. The space is entered in the end at box of the first field and the start at box of the second field. Repeat this process for the remaining fields. You can verify the split has been successful from the left in-field mapping. If Zudello has read one field as multiple fields, you have the ability to merge those fields together. For example, this document has had the first line of its address read as 3 separate fields. To rectify this, select the correct field to map to for all 3 parts of the field. All 3 parts should be green to indicate that they have been mapped. Automatically, Zudello will merge any information mapped into the same field. In the Mapping by Field section, find the field you want the information merged into. You are able to click and drag the partitions to reorder them if necessary. The result below the input bubble will give you a preview of how the merged fields will appear. You can do this for as many fields as are required. For example, if one field had been read as 5 separate fields, you can map all of them to their intended field for merging. You can now add areas of text to the document that weren't originally used for mapping by clicking the 2 keys icon on the right side. Map the fields as you would normally, and then click the icon again to close the additional mapping tool. Once you have captured all recommended fields, or all the fields on your document are highlighted in green, select Save and Reprocess to finalize the mapping. Future invoices from the same supplier should automatically apply the mapping you have manually entered. Again, please refer to the platform exclusion document in our Help Center for details on excluded document types that will either need mapping each time or amending by your suppliers. With Zudello's AI assistant, control is back in your hands, and you can even prioritize which documents you manage first.